Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 3, Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Text 1. Sutta uvacha jagruhe paurusham rupam Bhagavan mahadadibihi sambhutam shodashakalam adau lokasi srukshaya.
Krishna said, in the beginning of the creation, the Lord was expanded himself in the universal form of the Purusha incarnation and manifested all the ingredients for the material creation. And thus, at first, there was a creation of the 16 principles of material action. This was for the purpose of creating the material universe.
Text 2. Yasyambasi shayanasya yoga nidram vitanvataha nabi hrudambujadi sad brahma vishvasrujam patihi.
A part of the Purusha lies down within the water of the universe. From the navel lake of his body sprouts a lotus plant, and from the lotus flower top which came Brahma, the master of all engineer in the universe, becomes manifest.
Text 3. Yasya vayasvasamsthanaihi kalpito loka vistaraha tadvai bhagavato rupam vishuddham sattvamurjitam.
It is believed that the universal planetary system are situated on the extensive body of the Purusha, but he has nothing to do with the created material ingredients. His body is eternally in the spiritual existence, par excellence.
Text 4. Pashyantyado rupamadaprachakshusha sahasrapadoru bhujananadbhutam sahasramurdashravanakshinasikam sahasramaulyambarakundalolasat.
The devotees, with their perfect eye, see the transcendental form of the Purusha, who has thousands of legs, eyes, arms, and faces, all extraordinary. In that body, there are thousands of heads, ears, eyes, nose. They are decorated with thousands of sunlight and glowing earrings and are adored with garments.
Text 5. Ye Etannanav Etannanavataranam nidanam bijamavyayam yasyam shamshena srujyante devatiryagnaraadayaha.
This form, the second manifestation of the Purusha, is the source and indestructible seed of multifarious incarnations within the universe. From the particles and proposed portions of this form, different living entities like demigods, man, and others are created.
Text 6. Sa eva pratamam devaha kaumaram sargamashritah chachara dushcharam brahma brahmacharyamakanditam.
First of all, in the beginning of creation, there were the four unmarried sons of Brahma, the Kumaras, who, being situated in a vow of celibacy, underwent severe austerity for realization of the absolute truth.
Text 7. Dvitiyam tu bhavayasya rasatalagatam mahim उद्धरिष्यन्नुपादत्ता यज्ञेशः सौकरं वपुः.
The supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices accepted the incarnation of the Lord, the second incarnation, and for the welfare of the earth, he lifted the earth from the nether region of the universe.
Text 8. तृतीयं ऋषिसर्गं वै देवर्षित्वमुपेत्य सः तन्त्रं सात्वतमाचष्ट नैष्कर्म्यं कर्मणां यतः.
In the millennium of the Rishi, the personality of Godhead accepted the third empowered incarnation in the form of the devil Narada, who is the great sage among the demigods. He collected exposition of the Vedas, which deals with devotional service and which inspire non-fruitive acts.
Text 9. तुर्ये धर्मकला सर्गे नरनारायणावृषिः भूत्वात्मोपमो भूत्वात्मोपशमोपेतम् अकरोत् दुश्चरं तपः.
In the fourth incarnation, the Lord became Narayana, the twin son of, of the wife of King Dharma. Thus, he undertook severe and exemplary penance to control the senses.
Text 10. पञ्चमः कपिलो नाम सिद्धेशः कालविप्लुतं प्रोवाचासुरये साङ्ख्यं तत्त्वग्रामविनिर्णयम्.
The fifth incarnation, named Lord Kapila, is foremost among perfected beings. He gave an exposition of the creative element and metaphysics to Asuri Brahmana. For in course of time, this knowledge had been lost.
Text 11. षष्ठम् आत्रेरपत्यत्वं वृतः प्राप्तो न सूयया अन्वीक्षिकीमलर्काया प्रह्लादादिभ्य ऊचिवान्.
The sixth incarnation of Purusha was the son of the sage Kshatri. He was born from the womb of Anasurya, who prayed for an incarnation. He spoke on the subject of transcendence to Aloka, Prahlada, and others. Yadu, Taitaya.
Text 12. ततः सप्तम आकूत्यां रुचेर्यज्ञोऽभ्यजायत स यामाद्यैः सुरगण्यै आपत्वायम्भुवान्तरम्.
The seventh incarnation was Yajna, the son of Prajapati Ruchi and his wife Puti. He controlled the period during the change of the Swayambhava Manu and was assisted by demigods such as his son Yama.
Text 13. अष्टमे मेरुदेव्यां तु नाभेर्जात उरुक्रमः दर्शयन् वर्त्मदीराणां सर्वाश्रमनमस्कृतम्.
Eighth incarnation was King Rastapa, son of King Nabi, and his wife Marudevi. In this incarnation, the Lord showed the path of perfection, which is followed by those who have fully controlled their senses and who are honored by all order of life.
Text 14. ऋषिभिर्याचितो बेजे नवमं पार्थिवं वपुः दुग्धे मामोषधीर्विप्रा स्तेनायं सावुषत्तमः.
O Brahmanas, in the ninth incarnation, the Lord prayed for by sages, accepted the body of King Prabhu, who cultivated the land to yield various produce, and for that reason the earth was beautiful and attractive.
Text 15. Rupam sajagruhe matsyam chakshushodadi samplave navyaropya mahimaya apadvaivasvatam manum.
When there was a complete sun undated after the period of the Chaktusa Manu, and the whole world was deep within the water, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vaivasvata Manu, keeping him up on a boat.
Text 16. Sura surana mudadim matnatam mandarachalam dadre kamatarupena prushta ekadashe vibuhu.
The 11th incarnation of the Lord took the form of the Torah, whose shell served as a pivot for the Mandarsala hill, sorry, I got that wrong, which was being used as a turning road by the east and east of the universe.
Text 17. Danvantaram dvadashamam त्रयोदशममेव च अपाययुत्सुरानन्या मोहिन्या मोहयन् स्त्रिया.
In the 12th incarnation, Lord appeared as a Dhanvantari, and in the 13th, he allowed the atheists by the churning beauty of women gave nectar to the demigod.
Text 18. Chaturdasham narasimham bibradvaityendramurjitam dadara karajyairurav erakam katakrudyata.
In the 14th incarnation, Lord appeared as a Nrsimha and purificated the strong body of the atheist Hiranyakashipu with his nail, just as the carpenter feared man.
Text 19. Panchadasham vamanakam krutvagada advarambale padatrayam yachamanaha pratyaditsustripishtapam.
The 15th incarnation, Lord assumed the form of a Vamana, and visited the arena of sacrifice arranged by Maharaj Kali. Although heart, although at heart he was willing to regain the kingdom of the three planets, simply asked for a donation of three steps land.
Text 20. Avatare shodashame pashyan brahmadruho nrupan trisapta kritvah kupito nikshatra makaronmahim.
In the 16th incarnation of the Godhead, the Lord as a Brahmapati humiliated the administrative class, the Kshatriya, 21 times, being angry with them because of their rebellion against the Brahmanas, the intelligent class.
Text 21. Tatah saptadashe jataha satyavatyam parasharat chakre vedataro shaka društva pumsolpamedasaha.
Thereafter, in the 17th incarnation of Godhead, Sri Vyasadeva appeared in the womb of Satyavati through Parasara Muni, and he divided the one Veda into several branches and sub-branches, seeing that the people in general were lacking.
Text 22. Naradevattvamapannaha surakarya chikirshaya samudra nigrahadini chakre viryanyatah param. Hari Bol.
In the 18th incarnation, the Lord appeared as King Rama. In order to perform some pleasing work for the demigod, he exhibited superhuman power by controlling the Indian Ocean and then killing the atheist king Ravana, who was on the other side of the sea. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Gita Mataji and Alpesh Prabhu for your wonderful recitations today of this chapter number 3. So welcome, dear devotees, to today's chat session. We continue with our reading, study and discussion of Srimad Bhagavatam. And today we begin a new chapter, chapter 3, entitled Krishna is the source of all incarnations. It's a very important chapter, and we have so much to learn and gather and gain from this chapter. And so we'll start with the Mangala Charanam prayers, then I'll do an overview of the chapter so we can have a bird's eye view of what's contained in the chapter, and then we'll do some discussion of text number 1. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivashari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Aschachade Shatarine. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So let's take a bird's eye view of this chapter 3, entitled Krishna is the source of all incarnations. So this chapter is broken into various sections. The first section is from text number 1 to number 5. And in this section, we have Srila Sutta Goswami continuing to describe the Purusha avatars. We can recall that one of the questions that the sages asked, which was question number 4, they requested Sutta Goswami to please describe the Lord's adventures in his various incarnations, in particular the Purusha avatars related to creation. We have discussed briefly in the previous chapter about these incarnations, but Sutta Goswami goes on to further describe them. And I think this gives us some insight into the importance of understanding this aspect of the Lord. And then we go on to describe from text 6 to 29 the incarnations and their source. And in text 6 to 25, as we've just been hearing today during the recitation, is the description of the various incarnations or Leela avatars of the Lord. And 26 to 27, the Lord has unlimited incarnations and Krishna is their fountainhead. And in this chapter, we encounter what is called the Paribhasa Sutra, the emperor verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And that is text number 28, which states that Lord Krishna is the fountain of all incarnations. And that is a very important verse which we'll give focus to. And recitation of the Leela avatars of the Lord brings relief from miseries. And then we go on to another interesting section, text 30 to 34. And this is the imaginary Virat Rupa, where those who are not so advanced, those who are not so able to perceive the Lord in his personal form, they can conceive of the Lord in another form called the Virat Rupa in his creations. And there's a description of that. And then verses 35 to 39 describes an understanding of the Lord, and there's descriptions of qualifications and how inquiries about the Lord invoke love for the Lord. And then there's some beautiful verses at the end of this chapter. Text 40 to 44 describes the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. And in that, we also find the answer to question number 6. And that question was, whom did the religious principles take shelter of after Lord Krishna departed from this world? So very exciting chapter, much to look forward to. And let's try to absorb ourselves. So now we will progress to our discussion of text number 1. Sutta Uvacha Jagrehe Purusham Rupam Bhagavan Mahad Adibhi Sambhutam Sodasha Kalam Adolokam Shishrik Saya. Word for word synonyms. Sutta Uvacha, Sutta said, Jagrehe, accepted, Purasham, plenary portion as the Purusha incarnation, Rupam, form, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Mahat Adibhi, with the ingredients of the material world, Sambhutam, thus there was the creation of Sodasha Kalam, 16 primary principles, Adho, in the beginning, Loka, the universe, Sishrik Saya, on the intention of creating. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sutta said, in the beginning of the creation, the Lord first expanded himself in the universal form of the Purusha incarnation and manifested all the ingredients for the material creation. And thus, at first there was the creation of the 16 principles of material creation. This was for the purpose of creating the material universes. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Bhagavad Gita states that the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna maintains these material universes by extending his plenary expansions. So this Purusha form is the confirmation of the same principle. The original personality of Godhead Vasudeva, Lord Krishna, who is famous as the son of King Vasudeva or King Nanda, is full of all opulences, all potencies, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. A part of his opulences is manifested as impersonal Brahman, and a part of his opulence is manifested as Paramatma. This Purusha feature of the same personality of Godhead Sri Krishna is the original Paramatma manifestation of the Lord. There are three Purusha features in the material creation, and this form, who is known as Karanodakshayi Vishnu, is the first of the three. The others are known as the Gabodakshayi Vishnu and the Shirodakshayi Vishnu, which we shall know one after another. The innumerable universes are generated from the skin holes of this Karanodakshayi Vishnu, and in each one of the universe, the Lord enters as Gabodakshayi Vishnu. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also mentioned that the material world is created at certain intervals and then again destroyed. This creation and destruction is done by the Supreme Will because of the conditioned souls or the Nitya Bhada living entities. The Nitya Bhada, or the eternally conditioned souls, have the sense of individuality or Ahankara, which dictates to them sense enjoyment, which they are unable to have constitutionally. The Lord is the only enjoyer, and all others are enjoyed. The living beings are predominated enjoyers. But the eternally conditioned souls, forgetful of this constitutional position, have strong aspirations to enjoy. The chance to enjoy matter is given to the conditioned souls in the material world, and side by side, they are given the chance to understand their real constitutional position. Those fortunate living entities who catch the truth and surrender onto the lotus feet of Vasudeva after many, many births in the material world, join the eternally liberated souls and thus are allowed to enter into the kingdom of Godhead. After this, such fortunate living entities need not come again within the occasional material creation. But those who cannot catch the constitutional truth are again merged into the Maha Tattva at the time of the annihilation of the material creation. When the material creation is set up, this Mahat Tattva is again let loose. This Mahat Tattva contains all the ingredients of the material manifestations, including the conditioned souls. Primarily, this Mahat Tattva is divided into 16 parts, namely the 5 gross material elements, the 11 working instruments or senses. It is like the cloud in the clear sky. In the spiritual sky, the effulgence of Brahman is spread all around, and the whole system is dazzling in spiritual light. The Mahat Tattva is assembled in some corner of the vast, unlimited spiritual sky. And the part which is thus covered by the Mahat Tattva is called the material sky. This part of the material sky called the Mahat Tattva is only an insignificant portion of the whole spiritual sky. And within this Mahat Tattva, there are innumerable universes. All these universes are collectively produced by the Karanodakshayi Vishnu, called also as the Maha Vishnu, who simply throws his glance to impregnate the material sky. That's a really beautiful purport by Srila Prabhupada. So as we said previously, Sutta Goswami begins this chapter by discussing or describing further the 3 Purusha avatars. The Purusha avatars are the incarnations of the Lord who are concerned with the material creation and the affairs of the material world. Prabhupada explains that, the spiritual sky is very vast. And emanating from the spiritual sky is the Brahmajyoti. And in a corner, a very small corner of the Lord's realm, we find this material world. And this material world ultimately manifests from Karana Dakshai Vishnu. Now, there's some very important words in this verse. Jagrihe Parusham Rupam. So immediately we get the understanding that the material creation comes about by a person. It comes about by spirit. Bhagavan Mahat Adibir. By the Supreme Person Bhagavan. Most people in this material world who go to school to get an education, their education teaches them something that's absolutely wrong. And that is that creation comes from matter. There is no intelligence. There is no person behind the creation. There is some big bang. And there is some primordial soup. And from that primordial soup, there is the manifestation of ultimately proteins. And from that proteins, some organisms miraculously arise. And from those tiny organisms, by the combined process of natural selection and random mutation, we get what we see in this world today. Everything is emanating from matter. But Srimad Bhagavatam categorically dismisses this speculation. It's nothing but speculation. I was listening to Srila Prabhupada talk about this verse. He gave 2 classes on this verse. And Prabhupada is saying, where is there any example in this material world of something manifesting from dead matter? There is nothing. There is no experience of anything living manifesting from dead matter. No. The only experience we observe and we experience in this world is that life comes from life. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Purusha Avatar, this material world stems from him. And this is the first manifestation of the Lord within the material realm. Karano Dakshai Vishnu, also sometimes known as Maha Vishnu. So who is this Maha Vishnu and where does he come from? It is explained in the Bhagavatam that this Maha Vishnu comes from the Sankarshan manifestation of the Lord. And from who does the Sankarshan manifestation of the Lord come from? It comes from Lord Balaram. And from whom does Lord Balaram emanate from? Lord Krishna. So this Purusha avatar, Karana Dakshai Vishnu, is ultimately an expansion of Lord Krishna to deal with the material universe. And this expansion of the Lord is gigantic. And he lies down in the ocean known as the Karana Ocean. And this manifestation of the Lord, Maha Vishnu, Karana Dakshai Vishnu, it is from this manifestation of the Lord that all of the material ingredients for creation becomes manifest. And we shall describe a little more about this. This verse says there are 16 There are 16 elements or 16 ingredients for the creation. And this comes from Maha Vishnu or Karanodakshaya Vishnu. And also within the pause of Karanodakshaya Vishnu, unlimited universes are manifested. And in this lecture I was listening to by Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada says this is the original breathing. What we experience from ourselves is there in the Lord. So when the Lord breathes out, at that point in time, unlimited universes are manifested. And in each of these universes, there is a further expansion of the Lord as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And then when the Lord breathes in, then there is the end of the manifestation of the material universes. So these are very, very long periods of time. And very briefly, this is a description from, show you. So you should be able to hopefully see this diagram. This is from the 5th chapter of this second canto. This is from the 5th chapter of the second canto. And this gives us a beautiful summary of the process. You'll see in the purple, Prabhupada talks about the Mahatattva, the unmanifested. So we have Karanodakshaya Vishnu, and it says it's a Swamsa. Swamsa means it's a portion of the portion. It's of the manifestation of the Lord. And this manifestation of the Lord, he glances into the material nature and he impregnates into the material nature the jivas. So from the Lord, we get the manifestation of the material nature. This is called Pradhan. And in this Pradhan, the three modes of material nature are unmanifested. So in one sense, the material world has not really been activated. And then we have what is called from the Pradhan, we have the Mahat Tattva. And from the Mahat Tattva, we get the manifestation of the ego. And then from the ego, we get the three modes of material nature. Following the ego, the three modes of material nature being manifested. And this is, I won't go into a detailed description of this because we will cover the more detailed aspects. But just to put it into perspective, that this aspect of the Lord, the Karanodakshaya Vishnu, how from him, from this aspect of the Lord, the material nature is manifested. And all of the ingredients of creation, you can see down here, Prabhupada says there's 16. There's the 5 senses, and then there's the, in the purport, Prabhupada says there's the, where is it now? The 11 other ingredients. 11 other ingredients. 16, the 5 gross material elements, earth, water, fire, ether, and the 11 working instruments of senses, the eyes, the ears, the skin, the nose, the tongue, the hands, the feet, the voice, the anus, and the genitals. And these are the other manifestations: sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. And then we see how the whole material creation manifests from the Lord. So I'll just go back to the purport, just quickly pick up 1 or 2 other salient points. Prabhupada talks about, yes, at the end of creation, the individuals, or the point of destruction, are withdrawn into the Mahat Tattva. They go into a latent stage, and when there's a manifestation of creation again, and then they're impregnated being impregnated into the material world. And all of the souls in this material world, they are commonly referred to as Nitya Bada. Nitya Bada means eternally conditioned. So some people will say, eternally conditioned? I thought we came from the spiritual world. That is true. So we are called eternally conditioned because we cannot really trace how long we have been in this material world. We've been here for a very, very, very long time, wandering from one species to the other species. And the Prabhupada explains that those fortunate living entities who catch the truth, Prabhupada writes very nice, and surrender onto the lotus feet of Vasudeva after many, many births in the material world, join the eternally liberated souls. And how do we catch the truth? It's only by the mercy of the pure devotee of the Lord. And that starts the journey back. Once we catch the truth of Lord Krishna, there's no going back. There's no going back. And Prabhupada says, finally, these Nitya Bada living entities get the opportunity to return back to the spiritual world. Yeah, I think that is as much as I'll probably like to say today. We'll stop here and we'll take any questions or comments anyone may have or reflections. Anyone got any questions or comments? Okay. No one's got any questions or comments. Is it clear? Does everyone understand?
Hare Krishna, Chandra, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Palika Mataji.
Accept my humble obeisances, all Hare Krishna. Yes, very, very nice. Very technical, and but we need to understand this, how all the creation started. So you have elaborated very nicely, step by step. So also a lot of names and words, we need to have it in our system to do whenever it comes to answering questions or ask question. We need to understand these, all the Purushas, and how Krishna really, created from the Maha Tattva, all the creation has come. So it's a very important part of the Srimad Bhagavatam, so that from there everything goes. So only thing is, I just wanted to know, I know I heard about these, I always hear, and I was told that this one is the working part of Krishna is called, it's not coming in my mind at the moment. Like Krishna is the spiritual, but this Maha Vishnu, Karandaksha, they're the working part of Krishna. So they, like Srila Prabhupada many times gives the explanation that when the father is at home, he's just for the family. But when he goes to work, he is not working, he's working. So this is called, what's that called? From Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu? It's called, it's not coming to my tongue. I just wanted to know that Krishna. Can you help me?
Krishna Mataji, is it formal and informal?
No, that's not what I meant.
What are you meaning, Mataji?
The name of when Krishna creates all the Purushas, the Purusha creates, but it's not Krishna who is in a spiritual kingdom like Krishna with the two arm. These are the.
Is it the expansions? You mean the expansions?
Expansion, but there's a certain name. It's not coming in my tongue. I don't know why. What's it called? Can you help me in Vrindavan, Chandra?
Okay, let's pray to Krishna. Let's see if something comes.
Yes.
Not Lila avatars, not saying that, is it?
No. I asked some.
Purusha avatars? Purusha avatars?
Yeah, they are part of it, but it's not Krishna's original form. It's not Krishna's original form. So they are called. It's not expansion. Krishna, please help me.
You mean like the Swamsha and those aspects?
Yeah, they are also part of that.
Okay, okay. Anyway, it will come to you. Don't worry.
Yeah, it will come. But I just wanted to know, is that what it is? That, you know, the Krishna original form, he doesn't do anything. He just plays his flute.
Yeah.
But all the Krishna's Vishnu, Maha Vishnu, he's in active stage. I mean, he creates all that. So what does it? How does it? What name do we give? Krishna, please help me.
Yeah, it's not coming to me. But anyway, I think what we see here is the potency of the Lord.
Yeah.
Even the expansion of the Lord that's to deal with creation or the work. I mean, what is Karana Dakshayi Vishnu doing? He's simply lying on the ocean.
That's true.
And he's breathing and he's resting. He's resting. And simply by breathing, now which person in this world, their work is breathing in and out?
It's true.
You know, so the Lord, he does not work hard. There's no effort required from him. Everything simply by his potencies, by his will, he can manifest millions of universes. You know, someone just to like Elon Musk, just to come to the point of creating one Tesla vehicle. He went through so many challenges and difficulties and experiments, and even still, they're having to refine the design of Tesla car all the time because there's always faults in it. So much of hard labor we have to do in the material world. But the Lord, he simply in his first expansion lies down on the Karana ocean and he breathes in and out. Everything manifests. Simply by his glance, he impregnates the world. So we can see just by, you know, the whole process of understanding or discussing these Purusha avatars is to us to become humble, but just understanding how great Krishna is and how small we are. And what the potencies of Krishna is. And when we start off with this understanding, when we get to the 10th canto, when we start to you know, see Krishna as a little boy playing, we can understand this is no ordinary boy. You know, just by his breathing, we have manifestation of millions of universes. So
wonderful, so wonderful. I mean, without Bhagavatam, we wouldn't know anything because it's such a vast, you know, knowledge, the wealth. And it's so nice to, you know, because now we have the opportunity to do only one verse a day, spending sort of 1 hour. How much detail we're learning. But, you know, when we do doing the Bhagavatam course, we just do whole chapter in one lesson. So, you know, we are very fortunate to have these classes to go into detail, into each verse in so much detail. So we are really fortunate.
I don't know. Sailesh Prabhu the other day sent me a little calculation. It will take us 49 years, Sailesh Prabhu, to finish if we do it this way.
49.3 to be precise, Prabhu.
49.3 years. Well, at least we made an endeavor. So we may expedite it a bit, and we have some thoughts about that. But at least Srila Prabhupada said he put everything into the first canto. When Prabhupada went to America, the first canto was broken up into 3 volumes. Prabhupada said he put everything into the first canto. So maybe at least the first canto we shall at least spend the time of diving into Prabhupada's purpose, and then we can see what we shall do after that.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
the Purusha Avatara, the creation that comes out of Purusha Avatara is material. So the Purusha Avatara, is that a material energy or a spiritual energy of the Lord?
Spiritual, definitely spiritual.
Spiritual.
Yeah.
Okay. But the creation of this spiritual energy is all material.
Actually, Prabhupada gives one interesting class once. He said, actually, Prabhupada said, nothing is material. Everything is spiritual. It is only the consciousness that makes it appear material.
Mhm.
Everything is the energy of the Lord. Everything is the energy of the Lord. Just like we say in Krishna consciousness, we want to spiritualize everything. The body of the spiritual master is spiritual. So how does something become spiritual material? It's the point of utilization. And it's, Prabhupada used to say, just like if you take iron and you put the iron into fire and you hold it. After a while, the iron will become like fire in that it will emit light and it will emit heat. So by contact with the fire, it no longer becomes iron, but it becomes fire. So in the same way, when we expose ourselves to the reality of Krishna consciousness, everything becomes spiritualized. Because in one sense, everything about the Lord's energy is spiritual. Material is, once Sachinandan Swami says the story, when he first met Srila Prabhupada, he asked Srila Prabhupada, why did Krishna create Maya? Immediately Srila Prabhupada shot back at him. He said, Krishna didn't create Maya, you created Maya. You created Maya. And it's, the Sachin and that he got shocked. And then when he thought about it, he realized what Prabhupada is saying. Everything is actually spiritual. It only becomes material by our consciousness. By our consciousness.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Just one more question.
Sure.
Somebody told me that this avatara, so Purusha avatara is a spiritual avatara. So this avatara, are they material avatars or are those spiritual avatars as well?
No, none of the avatars are material. All are spiritual. Dasa avatars is known as Leela avatar. The Lord is completely spiritual. So I mean, all of his incarnations and his expansions, even we are tiny amsa, tiny expansions of the Lord. We are also spiritual. We are also spiritual. It's only in this chapter, we are called, for the first time, we hear something called a Virat Rupa. And in this Virat Rupa, it is said this is a temporary material form of the Lord. What it means is, when you see the description of the Virat Rupa, we see the material world as a manifestation, like how it explains the trees are the heirs of the body of the Lord, the rivers are his veins, and so on. It is for those who are not advanced enough to conceive of the real spiritual form of the Lord, we get an opportunity to conceive of the form of the Lord through Virat Rupa. That's the only time in the Bhagavad where we get a so-called description of the material form of the Lord, and that's the Virat Rupa. All other aspects, all other incarnations, all other avatars are completely spiritual, including
Thank you, Prabhu.
Purusha
Hare
avatars.
Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Just one question.
Yes.
Lovely class, lovely lecture by you, and nice explanation. Now you said that everything which is created by Maha Vishnu is spiritual. But we're living in a material world. So is that the ego which makes it difference between the spiritual and material? That ego which has, for example, people study and become doctor and scientist and so and so, and they say, "Oh, I created this." I created this car and I created this aeroplane. It's the I paid complaint. However, if you like what you're saying, that if you're using that yes, it's the intelligence of the Lord or Lord who gave me the intelligence, and then I kind of come up with that ideas and whatever. That's more spiritual. So can you just expand on that? That why people today saying that you know it's not God created all this, it's we creating all this advancement, the computer and all the things. All that.
Yeah. So the Bhagavatam explains that the concept of material only arises at the stage where from the Mahatattva we get manifestation of the Ahankara, the ego, and the manifestation of the three modes of material nature. So it is only the manifestation of the Ahankara, the ego, and the influence of the three modes of material nature that conditions the living entity, makes us think that we are separate and different from the Lord. And you can see in the Bhagavatam, there are many places. Actually, this Friday we'll be discussing one verse. To go back to the spiritual simply means the destruction of the false ego and rising above the three gunas to the stage of Suddha Sattva. The three gunas are Tamagun, Rajagun, and Sattvagun. So the moment we arise above the gunas, the moment we are able to rise above the ego, then everything is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. Once Prabhupada is explaining, someone asked Prabhupada, what is the meaning of evil? And Prabhupada says, actually, evil has got no independent existence. Evil is simply the absence of Krishna consciousness. Just like darkness. Like now I'm in this room in this light. Darkness could only manifest if I put the switch off. So darkness cannot manifest by itself. Darkness is simply the absence of light. Darkness does not have any independent existence. So in the same way, evil or Maya, it is simply the absence of Krishna consciousness. Or in other words, the manifestation of the Ahankara and the three modes of material nature. In one sense, it's a simple, this one. You can see, this is the Mahat Tattva, which is the unmanifested state, which is the collective, well, Pradhan is actually the unmanifested. And then the Mahatattva, you get two states, it's called Mahatattva and the Sutra Tattva. And then from there you get the Ahankara and the three modes of material nature. It's just this stage, the manifestation of this stages that one falls into material consciousness. Well, one can also say in the Mahatattva, all the souls from the previous destruction are here also. We are here in a latent stage. And when this gets manifested, the material world gets manifested through all of the ingredients, then the Ahankara and we come under the flow, three modes of material nature. I don't know if that answers your question, Prabhu.
Yeah, that's very nice. Nicely explained. So sometimes they say false ego.
Yes.
So there is ego. So why they say false?
Okay, there is ego because we are all spiritual persons and we have an original identity. We all have an original identity in a specific relationship with Krishna. False ego is when we take on a different identity. Like now, if I think I am this body, I am a man, I'm Indian, I'm certain age, that is false ego because this has nothing to do with me. This is just like if I say, I am this coat, I am this jacket, then that's false, isn't it? because I'm not this jacket. So in the same way, if I say I am this body, that is false ego, because we are taking on an identity which is false. But there is also original ego. That's our real original spiritual identity.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
And the explanation was very good and all the answers were very, very good, Prabhu. I particularly like the chart you made that makes it very easy to understand, because otherwise the concepts were a bit difficult to go from one to the other. The one that you showed right now, that was very, very helpful in understanding. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Vedant. I just came to my mind is the plenary expansion. That's what I was getting at. It was
Oh, plenary expansion. Okay.
yeah. Is it the where Krishna manifests like this? So is that what like father is a father at home, but when he goes to work, he is different than what he is at home. So Krishna is the spiritual world. He does nothing. He just plays flute. But when he become in Maha Vishnu, that's when he creates. So is that the one is called plenary because of the creation?
Yeah,
What does plenary means?
Plenary means part of the path. Like, from Krishna comes Balaram, from Balaram comes Sankarshan, from Sankarshan comes Karuna Dakshaya Vishnu. That means plenary portion. Yeah, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave a more technical, and maybe we can discuss it some other time, about how the nature of the Lord. There are different types of expansion. Some like Balaram, he has the full potency of Lord Krishna.
Yes.
But Narayan, he has only 98% of the 50 qualities. He's only the qualities, he's got 98%. So plenary means they do not have all what Krishna has.
Okay.
And then there's other expansions that have varying degrees. So that's what plenary means.
Okay, I understand. Because I asked some of the devotee, he said, when Krishna is in like expansion, like creation, that's when the plenary term is used. Because Krishna in himself, in his pure, does not do anything. He just plays flute. But when he becomes like a Maha Vishnu, like that. So he's in a creation, he's doing things. So that's what that Prabhu say that's plenary. When in working stage. That's what I was. That's why I wanted to be clear.
Okay, thank you for sharing that message.
Thank you. Also, Srila Prabhupada, like you mentioned earlier on, Srila Prabhupada, one of the devotees was asking, so Srila Prabhupada, you are in Vrindavan, you are not, he said, yes, I'm in Vrindavan. I'm living in America because I'm not living a life in America like the way everybody does. So I'm in Vrindavan consciousness. So like earlier he mentioned about the consciousness. So you can't be in the material world, but you can be completely like Srila Prabhupada. He was completely Krishna conscious. So is the consciousness is the only main thing that he could be living in the material world. He could be fully Krishna conscious. So the consciousness,
True.
Yeah, that's what he was trying to explain. This I was listening to a lecture. Thank you, Hare
True.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna from Namrata Mataji, and then I'll come to you, Salesh Prabhu.
Sorry, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, sorry for a digressed question, if I may. First of all, Madanvat Pranam. Thank you for a wonderful class, as always, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I don't know why, but just a very honest, I'm just putting it out there, Prabhuji. I feel that I was able to understand the Bhagavad Gita classes and all the scriptures. I'm struggling a bit with Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm trying to listen the classes, Prabhuji, but I feel I'm not remembering it. I don't know why I'm struggling to remember. I'm doing my malas. I feel I'm on the right path, but I don't know why I'm struggling so much to remember everything from the Bhagavatam. I've started studying myself now, 10 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day. But I feel I come to these classes. I don't know if it's going in, Prabhuji. Is it something wrong in me? Because the Bhagavad Gita was going in my head. This is just I don't know, what am I doing wrong, Prabhuji, or is it just too hard?
No. If it is any consolation, Mataji, about many of us, including myself in your shoes, the Bhagavatam is so vast. It's so vast that we tend, we tend to maybe sometimes forget, the structure or the theme or the thread through the different chapters and the different verses. But everything is Krishna. But one thing, spiritual sound vibration is so potent, it will be having an effect. Once, Srila Prabhupada was giving a lecture to some Indians, and he was speaking, I think it was Srimad Bhagavatam, and he was speaking in Hindi. And the disciples decided to get up and leave because they didn't understand Hindi. And Prabhupada said, sit down, sit down. Even if you don't know the language, this sound vibration is so potent, it will go in and it will clear your heart. So we may think we're not understanding. We may think it's just going out here and coming out the other side. But we can have confidence if we are sitting and hearing with the right attitude and making a genuine and sincere endeavor to hear the message of the Bhagavatam, the effect will be there. And that's all we need. We want to feel the effect of the Bhagavatam. And the ultimate effect of the Bhagavatam is our love for the Lord, our love, our enthusiasm to serve him and his devotees. We will feel an increase and a greater faith in that area. And as long as you are feeling that you are becoming purified, you feel that you are advancing, that's all that matters. Even if nothing you can remember, it's all there. It's a spiritual sound vibration. It touches the soul. So don't feel you are unique. Many of us feel exactly the way you're feeling. Just come and listen. That's Prabhupada said. Just come and listen. Yeah, don't worry about anything else. Just expose yourself to the sound vibration and the magic will happen.
Okay, Prabhuji, I'll wait for the magic. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
It's already happening. It's just that we don't know.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sailesh Prabhu, you wanted to share a reflection?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. Hare Krishna, thank you for a wonderful class as always. A couple of things. Firstly, I think Namrata Mataji makes an important point for many of us. I think your point is absolutely valid. I think as long as we just continue listening, the cleansing process of our heart is happening. If our sincerity is there, Krishna will reveal one way or the other over time. Whatever it is that we are supposed to understand and know, it will come over time. So the process is important. So thank you.
Never forget the verse we did in the previous chapter. Shrinvata swakatam Krishna punya shravana kirtam hridayantastu abhadrani vidinoti surit satam. Krishna says when he notices someone making a particular effort to hear his messages, he will personally enter into the heart of such a person and cleanse it of all the unwanted things. Krishna is noticing. He's noticing. Yes.
Thank you. Just a couple of interesting observations. Modern science, the current thinking, it's gone from the Big Bang theory to the pulsating universe theory. Isn't that interesting how the pulsating universe theory is, it goes into somewhere and then comes out of somewhere, which is Maha Vishnu breathing, of course. They're stupid enough not to understand by just reading the Bhagavatam, all the science is there. But anyway,
Yes.
that's the current thinking, is the pulsating universe theory, is the
changes that the theories are keep constantly revising. And there's no agreement even on the various theories, within the scientific community. So speculation.
I think a lot of people's questions today will probably get a little more clarified when we come on to looking at the energies of Krishna and internal, external, and marginal, where marginal is material energy. I think that once we get onto the energy definitions further on, I think it hopefully will become a little clearer. I think there's little amount of confusion as to what is material and what is spiritual, but hopefully it'll come as we all persevere later on. So.
Yes, definitely. There'll be more and more explanations of the same subject matter in other cantos, in later chapters in the second, and even the other cantos, their descriptions. Thank you. Pramila Mataji, you had yourself unmuted for a while now. Did you want to?
Yes, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, very nice class as usual. Prabhuji, sorry if I miss your explanation. Can you please just go back on the Sutra Tattva? I haven't heard this before.
Where is that?
It's at the top where,
Yes. Okay. I myself have to go revise myself my Sutra Tattva. So the only distinction I can see from my notes here is the Mahat Tattva is called Mahat Tattva because it's in Sattva, and the Sutra Tattva is called Sutra Tattva because it's Rajas, passion.
Oh, I see. Okay. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Okay. Krishna, but I'll try to see if I can get a deeper understanding. This, all of you, by the way, dear devotees, if you see these diagrams, it's not my diagram. I don't have such deep and understanding. I use this wonderful book called the Bhagavad Subodhini. It's compiled by Gaurang Darshan Prabhu from Govardhan Eco Village. I have all the various cantos, and they are tutorial. There's diagrams, there's mind maps. It's so helpful in learning and studying the Bhagavatam. I think you can get it in the Manas store, Sacred Boutique. So if you're interested, you can get these books. They're really, really very, very helpful. Okay. Anyone else, or shall we stop? I know, conscious we've gone over time today. Shobana Mataji, Hari Prabhu, I see you unmuted yourself. Did you want to say anything or add anything? No, okay. Okay,
Thank you.
Okay, we'll conclude today's session. Thank you very much, dear devotees, your wonderful questions, your participation. All glories to your service. Vanchakalpaturubhyascha kripa
Kripasindhaivacha Patitanam Brahmabhebhyo Vaishnavibhyo
The Prabhupada ki
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Dear.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.